Hey, welcome to No Ideas Original Sports. I'm Kenyatta. I'm here with Theo. How you doing, Theo?
Good, my guy. No complaints, my dude.
So listen, so looking at this week, we kind of got into like I guess it's the second week of the major league season or something, second kind of third. And
Yes.
some teams looking good, some teams looking bad, man. Listen, I'm a Yankees fan, so that they're not looking the greatest. I mean, it got so bad this week they were chucking stuff on the field. I don't know if you heard about that one, throwing baseballs on the field.
Yeah, Yankees off to a bad start. I mean, the last few years have been off to a bad start, but this year seems kind of different, though. It seems like there's no chemistry.
Yeah,
I guess and plus, I don't like the battle lineup, so to speak. It's kind of right-handed heavy. Um,
yeah.
it's kind of like maybe I called it the Steve Balboni lineup, where is that you hit a home run, you strike out. And
Yeah,
you have like Luke Voigt, even though he's hurt, he's coming on the way back pretty soon. But you got Luke Voigt, Stanton, and Judge, even Gary Sanchez. Them guys all the same kind of hitters. They don't get a home run, but they're gonna strike out. So there's no
yeah.
balance,
You look at those guys. It's one of those things where I remember we used to was I think the like year before we blamed it on the pitching somewhat, like the pitching's not doing it and everything. But the pitching, I mean, other than a couple of bad games, for the most part, giving up 3 runs, 3, 4 runs in this major league is not a bad pitcher. That's kind of average, 3 or 4 runs or something. And you got Cole and guys at the top. I think the worst out they had, I think Domingo Herman got shelled or something like that. But other than that, I don't think the pitching staff has been too bad either. So it's just no timely hitting.
right? The Mon got crushed, and I think Kluber had one bad outing. But as you just alluded to, I agree with you. This lineup the Yankees have right now, they should easily score 3 to 4 runs every game, win or
Yeah.
lose.
Yep.
But they don't play small ball, okay? They don't play small ball. No, there's no sacrifice fly. There's no Tommy singles or doubles or go to opposite field, like the old Yankee team with Bernie Williams and Tino and Luis Colonia, Paul O'Neill. Those guys was like hitting the ball across the field. There was no shift in that lineup.
Yeah. You remember that, right? Get the guy on base, bloop him
Yeah.
over, drive him in. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, and Tommy hitting with Scott Brocious and Girardi hitting the triple, stuff like that. It's just a balanced lineup. Tommy hitting, guys where that you have to play, you have to spread the field against the outfield. There's no shift on any batter, so them
Yeah.
times come and gone now.
I got an interesting question, and it's funny. So we bought in Rogue Noah, right? The guy from Texas, right?
Yes.
He went out there, got an error, right? But
Mm.
at the same time, the last guy who hit really good for average, hit power and doubles and stuff, is in the minor leagues because of his defense. So why is it that Miguel Andujar can't make this team because of defense? When he led as a rookie, I think he led the league in doubles or something. It was an over
Right,
300 hitter, hit
right.
20 something home runs and on 90 something, 80, 90 RBIs. He can't get anything, but we could bring in another guy to get errors.
Yeah, it's a numbers game with Yankees, and sometimes some coaches show favoritism. For example, most people didn't want Brett Gardner, for example, to come back. If he
Yeah,
does, he come play in a limited role and let Clint Frazier, younger guy, get a chance to show himself.
yeah,
Season starts, what happens? Now he's benched now for Gardner because this guy Boone is just a Gardner lover. Get a kid a chance. I know he's struggling out the gate, but he's one of many guys who's struggling out the gate. There's
yeah,
165 games. Give this kid a chance. But most Yankee fans assume that when Gardner was going to be resigned, that eventually Boone would show favoritism and bench Frazier the moment he had a chance to do so to speak.
and he
But
did. Yeah,
but back to the Andujar. Andujar is actually worse defensively than anybody else. That's the issue.
yeah.
So if Gleyber is a better defensive player than him, and so is let's say Odor, we're gonna put him at.
They gotta find some way to get him up there, some at bats or something. Because not for nothing. I mean, if you got Stanton or whatever DH in or something, I mean, maybe you gotta until he gets around, you bring him up, platoon the DH or something.
Yes, yes. I'm quite surprised he couldn't play outfield like left field, right field.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Yeah, most guys usually have a good transition to play the corner outfields, but in his situation, I guess he struggled mightily as well at third base. This is why he's known for hitting than fielding. Very good hitter, man. But you know what though? Maybe him a trade bait for a pitcher or something or left-handed.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Not
you
right
got
now,
the
though, but we'll see down the line, I guess.
the flip side of it. You got teams like the Mets who had so many games that were like delayed, rained out, postponed, and all types of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
they seem to be doing all right. Jake DeGrom is being Jake DeGrom as usual.
Yeah, I caught him before we started the show. He was just, everybody getting struck out looking, everybody, the whole lineup, man. So he's back to being himself, being the BC is, being the best pitcher in baseball. So the Mets could find a consistent lineup, or at least give him some runs when he's pitching. They'd be all right. You have the players. You have the players, that's for sure.
Yeah. DeGrom lost a tough one, the last one, another one of those one-run games where he get struck out 14 and they couldn't get a run for him or something. So same old story with that too.
Yeah, I saw a stat where DeGrom been going been going 8 innings his last 20, 25 starts.
Yeah.
And losing 1-0 and 2-0.
Yeah.
So the Mets got to get better when he's on the mound. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then you look at other teams, the Dodgers look like they're ready to just steam right back through. I think they got 2 losses or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about that before the show started, man. They look great again. They look like a freight train already out the gate. They got pitching, they got hitting, they got the bench players, they got Tommy hitting, Tommy fielding. They got it all, man. They're a complete team across the board, one through 25, man. That's for sure.
Listen, the Padres look like they're gonna try to make a run at them.
Yes, I can see that too. I can see that too. The Padres lineup is kind of similar to the Yankees a little bit. We got the Tatis a little bit, and it's got third base, not Mercado, I've got his name, third baseman. We got last year,
Machado.
Machado, right,
Yeah.
right. So Dodgers have hitters, so it's all about Tommy hitting on their part and good pitching, man. But across the board, Dodgers still a better team.
Yeah. Just looking at the league, for the most part, all the records are bunched in. I was surprised to see that the Red Sox have the second best record at 10-4. So that
Yeah,
was surprising to me. But everybody else in all the divisions are kind of bunched up. Like there's nobody besides the Dodgers that's really like setting themselves out above the rest right now.
yeah. I peeked the lineup of maybe yesterday. I was surprised that I heard they were doing too. I heard they were doing pretty good. Excuse me. I saw the record. I was like, wait a minute. They were like what, 11-2 at the time I seen a record. So I saw the Boston and Dodgers. Everybody was like, there's 500 right now. The whole
Yeah,
baseball league.
yeah. That's gonna be interesting in the end. I wonder if you have that same kind of parity towards the end.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah. Hey man, so moving off of from baseball into basketball. Well, again, I want to start off with congratulating Dwayne Wade for
Oh yeah.
getting a stake in the Utah Jazz. Good to see a player converted to an owner. I mean, I'm sure that he won't be the first, but I'm sure when LeBron will try to get part of a team, whatever, or a team when he's finished or something. So that'll be great. It's good to see that. It was a little surprising to me though. I wasn't surprised that he was interested, but it's interesting that he ended up becoming a part owner of Utah.
Yeah, I think, well, let me get it out the way before I forget. It's disappointing that it wasn't the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Yep.
Being one of the best players ever in that franchise, and I guess always represent those guys very well on and off the court. And but you listen, is I guess some people don't get along outside of the court. I don't know
Yeah.
why it went. I don't know why they wouldn't have Dwayne Wade as part of their franchise or have some kind of stake in ownership. But good for Utah. Utah, I guess, is a small state. They love their basketball. That's for sure. They have great fans, and Utah is like Buffalo Bills to the point where I won't mind seeing guys do well or win the chip. The guys been through a lot of tough losses during the Carmelo Stockton years. With Jordan era, stopping them from winning
Yeah.
chips, stuff like that. So they're one of the few franchises in sports where I wouldn't mind seeing them do well. Say, you know what, they do to win the chip. And they have a great fan base, man. So good for Dwayne Wade and Utah Jazz for getting together, man.
Well, right now they still have the best record, even though even though this guy got hurt the other night, so the
Yeah,
sprained
Donovan.
ankle, Mitchell, yeah, got a sprained ankle. It turns out that it's not as bad as what they initially thought, but he's gonna miss a few games.
Okay.
So that at least they still be competitive and they still in this have a good lead. Um, some of the other teams, just looking at like the West Coast and different things, Golden State looks like they're playing really well right now. I mean, really, it's a Steph Curry run basically.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Um,
they're playing pretty well.
this is where Utah will get tested without Donovan. See where they at, so to speak, without Donovan Mitchell being their best player. Sometimes you could win without winning, so to speak. Whereas that I know I don't expect these guys to go on a 5 game winning streak without Donovan.
Yeah,
But if those kids are very competitive, like the next man up is carrying their weight and being competitive as a team. That also does well for a team when he comes back as well, because the guy who don't get much playing time now he's getting more playing time and he's I guess contributing the
yeah,
minutes that he have. It bodes well for the team for the future. You have trust in somebody, on your bench.
yeah. Then with him, you got Denver, who had a big loss losing Jamal Murray for the season. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, I think that takes them kind of out of it. I couldn't see them winning the championship or competing for the championship without Jamal Murray.
That completely taking guys out the chip equation.
Yeah,
Let's keep it 100, man. That's what it is. This is why it hurts so much, because those guys was playing extremely well,
yeah,
extremely well. Arguably the best team playing wise, right, to the Aaron Gordon trade.
yep, yep,
And you losing your, I guess, arguably your best player, arguably somebody who made key baskets at crunch time, who was big time in the big stages, make big shots, not scared of the big lights. Prove on the playoffs. That's there's a big void, man. It's tough, man.
yeah. Then you still got the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns still winning, still winning.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think it's the Chris Paul effect. Chris Paul, I got to give him credit. Wherever he goes, he gets those guys going and gets them working, and they win.
Chris Paul is the kind of guy. He's a bulldog. Number one. Number two, he's the kind of guy that has taken people's respect as years go on. I know it seems like he could have been a journeyman, so to speak. He played for the Clippers and played for New Orleans and he played for OKC. But everywhere he goes, man, that team changes for the better.
Yep.
I mean, the job he did at OKC was great. I think it's better than what he's doing right now, because Phoenix has better talent than OKC.
Oh yeah, they do. They definitely do.
Than OKC. But with the OKC, those young kids, man, that showed or reminded people how great he always been.
Yeah, yeah. He
You
took,
know,
and you remember when he was on OKC, I don't think Gilgis Alexander was healthy the first half of the season or something like that either.
right, right. And I'm gonna tell you something too. And he's the reason why that kid from LA, Schroeder, is playing good.
Yeah, yeah,
He's the reason why Schroeder went to another level, so to speak, or half a level, so to speak, out there in LA.
yeah. I mean, you
Compared,
see, you see, they got Aiton's playing better. Aiton's playing better. Bridges is playing better. All those guys are playing better. I think he makes the game easier for guys too because they don't have to play outside of themselves or something like.
right,
You put them in
right,
positions and listen, go to where you were comfortable at, and I'll get you the ball where you want to be at, or so. And just
right,
work hard on both ends, and we good type of thing. But
right,
he's
right.
definitely probably one of the best leaders of the sport, easily.
Yeah, definitely that guy when things not going right, he could take over and make something out of nothing, so to speak.
Yeah,
Sure. So yeah, CP3 is great, man. All
yeah.
time great.
I'll tell you this. I think the rumors of the Lakers downfall is exaggerated. Without Anthony Davis and without LeBron, they still didn't go out there and get smacked around. They contended.
Right.
They they
Exactly.
def- they,
Uh-huh.
they contended. They won some games they wasn't supposed to win,
Hmm.
and they didn't really. They lost a little ground, but not as much as what people thought. People thought that they would be tumbling down to the eighth seed. That they still in the middle of the pack, and Anthony Davis is coming back. LeBron will be back, I'm sure, in a week or so. So I with Denver falling off and Utah with Mitchell injury, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lakers getting one of those top three seeds. So they'll definitely be in the top four.
The lick, I think people like the Horton kid benefits from AD and LeBron not being on the call for a period of time, give more playing time against a certain situation during the game,
Yeah,
showing that showing the coach, listen, I can contribute, give me some time. So the other role players on the bench who's getting more play time than usual, actually showing out and playing well. Your shoulder is kind of low, scoring wise. Um, Kuzma is taking I guess a half level up, so to speak. He's been playing well, more consistent, not too many crazy shots like the last few years. Um, and they made a nice slowly transition as far as adding on Drummond into the lineup, so to speak. They're not rushing him so far. He just
yeah,
gets pounds and whatever he gets, so to speak. So I guess when LeBron comes back, AD comes back, I expect on Drummond to really be a force in the paint, man, on both sides
yeah.
of
I
the ball.
think so. I mean, then just just to keep talking about the West. Then you got like a whole pack of teams. I mean, we always want to look at Portland and say Portland's a little bit cut above, but you never know what you're gonna get from them. I mean, they'll play great, but they seem like they even if they play great, Dame has to be super Dame in order for them to win. And they lose some games you don't expect them to lose, so they always in the middle of that pack. I mean, then you got the Clippers. I mean, Dame and those guys, but the Clippers, I mean, with Kawhi Leonard load managing and all types of stuff, I don't know.
Well, Clippers, again, they lost their first game with Rondo. I think they're 9-1 since the Rondo trade.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I think even Paul George came out and said that it's Rondo's team. So that's to tell you his impact on the team. And it shows
yeah,
so far 10 games so far into the season, I guess, into the trade. Um, if Rondo plays well, that's good for the Clippers.
yeah,
Rondo's a leader. Not saying Kawhi's not or Paul George's not, but Rondo's a better leader than those guys. He been through the trenches. So is Kawhi. But from a point guard aspect and dealing with KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, those guys back in the days, and come to the Lakers and having LeBron's trust to the Lakers, helping the Lakers, I guess win a chip too as well. He's more certified than Kawhi and Paul George, and it shows already in 10 games in. So if Rondo's playing well, Clippers should be all right.
yeah. But you look at it, then after we talk about those guys, you got that whole, I call it, you got Portland, Dallas, San Antonio, Memphis, New Orleans. I mean, I look at those guys, and I'm kind of like, all right. I mean, do it should be you figure again that's the bottom five or four jockeying around for those four playing,
Right.
playing type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about that statement that Luka Doncic said and Mark Cuban about how the playing game is stupid or something? I mean, I gotta say, I think the playing game is stupid to them because they're gonna be playing in it. You gotta think if they weren't playing in it, it wouldn't be stupid.
Yeah, that is true. That makes sense. But from my point of view, I don't really like it, man. I don't like it. It's about I guess generating revenue, so to speak. That's what it is.
Yeah. I,
Players already playing 80 plus games already, or they had maybe a 2 month hiatus from the bubble. So that to have these add-on games, so to speak, or finding ways to I guess make money off these players. I get it, man. But sports right now we're in an era where sports is always trying to evolve or make ways of making money for the sport. So I get that though. But if you're a player, listen, man, we're AC, we're AC. Let us play. Why well, gotta fight? This team. Now, if it's two teams with the same record, then let's play a one and done. I get that, but you can't like four teams vying for
yeah.
2 spots. I don't like that.
I mean, I looked at it and I hope it's not what I thought I seen. I think that's even stupider. Like you got a playing thing. It looked like it said sevens playing eight and nines playing 10. How's that fair?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So
so I got to play the tougher seed. We get bumped out, and the lower seed gets advantage. I mean, at least make it 7, 10, 8, 9, or something.
right, right, exactly.
I don't
Well
even
said.
think this thing is even thought out. So,
No,
yeah,
because about money.
now moving on to the East Coast, man. I mean, I've been watching Philly, and Philly's been winning. They're up on the Nets one game right now. But I mean, I gotta say again, I'm still not overly impressed. They got like a full. They're winning. Don't get me wrong. They got a full complement of players. but they beat Kyrie Irving by 5. Because that's the only person that played on the Nets when they played them. They beat them by 5. Then they beat the Clippers yesterday, but by 3 with Paul George with no Kawhi. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're good enough to do it, but I don't know. What do you think of the Sixers? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Joel Embiid is having a career year and should be an MVP consideration. But you think the rest of those guys are all that consistent to pull that off?
The key to Philly, I say, is people like Seth Curry and Danny Green and Tobias Harris. Those are the key to, I guess, Philly, I guess, doing well in the playoffs. Because I expect Ben Simmons to be Ben Simmons, and
Yeah,
I expect Embiid to be Embiid, who's a beast right now, who's
yeah,
doing unguardable stuff out there on the court. Football. Listen, a win's a win, man. End of the day, wins a win.
yeah,
Just
yeah. That's true.
one point wins a win. Win and move on to the next game. So, that being said, I think Philly on paper, of what I see so far, are the only legit team from the East that has a chance, I guess, beating the Nets. Yeah, I've seen the Bucks plenty of times. I don't believe in the Bucks. No
Yeah, I
disrespect to
don't.
Bucks.
I don't believe in them. They don't
Yeah.
look like the same team from last year. They don't even look.
No, they don't. They don't have the players to beat the
Yeah,
Nets.
and I
Um,
think some teams kind of figured it out too. Like as far as like ducking under the screen, doing some different things. Because I don't even think it doesn't even seem like Middleton is having as good a season as he had last year or something.
well, Middleton, he gets his points though, but he doesn't scare you.
Okay, I got
Yeah, he doesn't. He'll get his point. He get his 24, maybe 25. But he
you.
get
It's just
his.
not. Yeah,
But he doesn't scare you. He could be contained, so to speak. You
yeah,
know, free freak. He's still working on his jump shot. The Lopez kid, the Suns is still shooting threes. That's the problem.
yeah.
He's
I
my
mean,
post. So this shit got Andre Drummond.
yeah. I'll tell you this: the Nets. What scares me about them is the erraticness, the injuries and the erraticness of people showing up. I mean, KD, I guess his legit injury, so he's back or something. Harden's Harden's got it hurt, so he'll be back soon. Whenever he comes back, Kyrie Irving, he's with him. He's just taking breaks, but um, I heard something interesting that goes him. I don't know if it's true or not. So that Kyrie Irving, part of his latest abstinence is that he was him switch religions is observing Ramadan, and
Yeah,
that is taking a toll on his body. So it's him. So that's his for his latest abstinence.
yeah. Kyrie is he's a mystery. He's a mystery. Durant, you got to be careful. Durant come over an Achilles heel that's very dangerous to play with. You got to monitor his numbers on the court. Harden got a hamstring. Hamstring is very difficult. You play sports, so you know how hamstring can
Yeah,
be very funny. They come back in a couple of days, couple of games, or don't come back at all. So the Nets is, at the end of the day, the Nets are being very competitive in all their games, despite not having Harden and Montrez and KD's minutes. They're playing well. Yeah,
yeah,
they have the pieces in place to beat anybody in a 7-game series.
yeah.
My problem with them is that defensively, can they get stops? And I'm not quite sure can get stops. They can score, but can they get stops? It will be my issue with them going forward.
I think when you look at the Nets, I think the funniest thing is that the two teams that will most concern me, they have the worst matchups against. Like they can get stops on. I can say on the 2 and the 3. I think they can get those type of stops. But with him, as far as and I even think Irving can get in there somewhat. But the thing that worries me is like I don't see them being able to get a lot of stops when it comes down to trying to stop Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis or something like that, or a combination of Anthony Davis and Drummond. In those type of games, I think it will probably be something where they're gonna have to turn up the scoring and change the type of game, put some fouls on those guys early because I think Philly they don't have. I don't think Philly has, let's say, enough consistent scoring. They have scorers, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't necessarily have shooters that shoot that consistently. You
Right.
got Curry and you got Green, but I mean, I would have thought that I'm sure they tried. If they could have brought in somebody like JJ Redick or somebody like that, that would have helped them out. but I don't think they got enough shooting. I think the Lakers will be a lot tough. Just right off the top, you got LeBron and AD, and Andre Drummond is a real big man.
Right.
So what'll happen is you DeAndre Jordan will eat up some fouls. They have to have some people eat up the fouls, and sometimes if you can't play defense, you're gonna have to put some pressure on offense or something where you get some guys in foul trouble and stuff like that. Now, Drummond, he can be prone, but I never really seen Anthony Davis get into too much foul trouble. LeBron generally doesn't get into foul trouble that much, so it'll be interesting. I mean, as far as the rest of the East, I mean,
Well,
what do you think of that?
Ken, let me ask you this question, Kenyatta. Let me ask you this question here. Do you think Embiid could play power forward?
I think he can. I think he can. I think you know what? It might be
Depends
better for him. Long term, it would be better for his career because he probably would get less banging. And it seems to be that he likes to play face up more than with his back to the basket if he can.
he could shoot. And I'll say that because I think he could shoot. He's a very good shooter. So Embiid
Yeah,
could shoot. And I don't mean for him to shoot threes either, but I mean in 15-foot range jump
yeah.
shots. He could shoot that. Maybe top of the key occasionally. But I'm thinking about maybe Dwight Howard and Embiid on the court at the same time. I'm thinking maybe depending on how they play. 'Cause I think they should try that. I,
I
I would
think that
I would experiment that in having Howard and Embiid in the court at the same time.
I think for them to beat the Nets, that would probably be the best thing to do because that's what helps, or to try to beat the Nets. That's what would help the Lakers too, having Davis and Drummond out there at the same time. Because if you got Embiid and what's him Howard out there at the same time, you make the Nets have to adjust. They can't
Hmm.
play a small ball lineup. You can't have KD at the power forward if you got those two guys out there. So
Right.
and I do think is I mean, again, I guess it's a good time to bring this up. Listen, I do think that Aldridge retiring is going to impact him because I thought he was going to play a fairly good role in that. Providing that low post scoring and being able to defend a little bit down there on the post. I
Okay.
mean, we seen what happened with Aldridge this week. I mean, with the whole heart condition and stuff. And he said after the game he had felt bad and stuff. Then talked to the Nets and they actually got him to the doctors and stuff. And he just called it quits. I mean, I personally think that was the best thing to do.
Health comes first, man. So we don't want to see no Hank Gather situation out there. We don't want to see that, man. 'Cause I watched Hank Gather's collapse on the court many years ago. We don't want to see that when anything else happening like that. Um, yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, his health comes first. As far as the Nets without him, it's a loss. He's a guy he could do a pick and pop situation, pick and roll situation. He could shoot that 50-foot jump shot on the baseline. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So he could give teams issues so on the court with his jump shot. So him not being there and then relying more on Blake Griffin, who looking more like Detroit Blake Griffin on the low.
yeah,
Um,
that's crazy, right?
looking more like Detroit Blake Griffin on the low. And since the Nets acquired Blake and Aldridge, I didn't really hear too much of DeAndre Jordan's name. DeAndre, I heard his name in weeks.
No, it's funny. I think he really got his first minutes again when Aldridge retired. That
Yeah,
other than that, he was kind of like
DNP.
out of the rotation
Yeah,
because
my guy.
what's funny is Claxton was ahead of him in the rotation. Claxton gets minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so he's definitely gonna be forced back into action. You know what I think is an underrated player on the Nets team who helps them a lot? Jeff Green.
Yes, yes. Jeff Green always been a solid player the way where he went. He was
Yeah,
listen. OKC had a stud squad where they had him and Westbrook and Harden and KD.
yeah,
They was just being cheap with the money, man.
yeah.
And I burned them. And
The
then we went to
ironic
he did his thing too, Boston too as well for a couple of years, maybe a
is,
good 2 years or so.
isn't the ironic thing that KD is basically playing with the guys that he came in the league with that he wanted to? Everybody except Russ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very ironic. And
Yeah,
let me throw this in too before I forget. LeBron James wants to see KD.
yeah, 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 definitely.
All KD was talking about is that jump shot in his face, and if I beat LeBron twice, the dude, dude, you joined the Warriors. You acting like you beat LeBron with Russell and Scott Brooks as coach and Harden. No, man. You joined an all-time great team. You acting like you beat this guy with OKC. You talking about beat LeBron. All right, cool. All right, cool. No problem. You had Curry and Draymond and Clay, the best backcourt ever, best two shooters ever, all kind of stuff. Yeah, Iguodala. Okay, no problem. All right. I'm gonna see you, man. I'm quite sure LeBron have chip his shoulder too, man. Trying to get back at KD, man. Come
Oh
on.
yeah, he definitely will. I think it's a turning point. I will tell you this.
Right.
I think the Lakers is more important for the Lakers to win than the Nets. Because it sounds crazy. The Nets got that super team buildup, but they got more runs in them. I think the Lakers are going on the other end of it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think
Well,
because Drummond, unless they give Drummond a boatload of money, he's not going to be there next year.
right. Right.
And then you figure, I mean, unless they draft some talent or find some money, they're gonna basically have that same team for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. I agree with
So
you on that. I agree. As far
yeah,
as this,
it's not that I would never say LeBron can't pull it off because we've seen him pull stuff out the hat. It's just that I can't see how they could improve the roster.
well, you
So
know what? It's right now. It's all about right now. So we trying to go into the future, but right as of right now, I think the chemistry is still there. Those
yeah,
give or take, maybe one or two players who they replaced. Chemistry wise, I give the Lakers the edge if they were to play, say, the Nets, so to speak. The Nets, like somebody said, show me a footage of Kyrie, KD, and Hard on the court passing the ball. It's hard to find out there. Somebody's always injured. Like,
well, yeah, I think that they might only play like 5 games together or 6 games together the whole season, seven, something crazy.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting if they all get healthy at the same time and they all playing to see how that's going to be. I mean, for their sake, hopefully it happens before the playoffs,
Right.
but we'll have to see.
I agree.
You got another team. Boston's playing well now. Boston's starting to look like the Boston we thought that they might be.
Boston is a tease, and whereas that you look at them play, they give you a good. I'll play like this. I don't see them beating the Nets based on
Nah,
based on their front court. I don't think they could beat Philly based on their front court, or even a Miami Heat for that aspect too, because based on their front court.
yeah,
They lack. Talk about a team who could have used DeAndre Drummond. That's a team right there could have used Andre Drummond for sure.
yeah,
More,
yeah,
more than more than the Lakers.
absolutely.
I get him. I have no reason to understand why they try to get him or add him to the roster. So every time I look at them, they have the guys who can play the 1, 2, 3 to 4, who's versatile, but they don't have that guy in the presence. And they keep when they play the Philadelphia Sixers, they're gonna rely on their jump shots. So you
Yeah,
shot, you're gonna die by the jump shot.
yeah. Then you got a team like the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, they've been doing great since Nate McMillan got there.
Mhm.
Since he became the coach, I mean, he was saying they did a lot better. But I still don't see them like. I don't think that like they're a nice team, but I couldn't. They're not to me a championship contender. I don't. Are they a first round winner? Maybe they get out of the first round. What do you think?
Depends on who play, but
Yeah,
I think Shaq said it and Charles Barkley said it even better. You already
two,
know.
two players away,
LeBron and AD.
LeBron and AD.
So that's tell you right there about the Atlanta Hawks. So the Hawks come in the series. Maybe they play somebody who's more evenly matched. Maybe the Knicks or something like that. Indiana Pacers.
Yeah,
You never know. That could happen. For sure. So they should make the playoffs. I would say that at least be an eighth seed. You never know.
yeah.
But
So,
hey, but they're not being the upper echelon teams of the East.
nah. So now when you look at that bunch group like we talked about with the West, you got the Knicks, Miami, Charlotte, Indiana, Toronto, Chicago's all right there. Right now, to me, I can see the Knicks coming out of that group, like as far as moving up, because the Knicks are actually playing really well right now, like really, really well. I mean, we seen the Julius Randle beat my old team ass tour, whatever this was. It's almost like he was on a revenge mission, handing these guys the business.
Right, right,
He definitely handed Dallas the business for sure too. And what's your I mean, I look at those guys. I can see the Knicks come. I think Miami's kind of falling apart at the wrong time. Charlotte is Charlotte. Indiana, I think they got some injuries or something, but I like what Karis LeVert is doing for them.
right.
Toronto, I'm not impressed by. You know, the usual. Any of those teams, you think any of the Knicks look like they're going up, but the rest of those teams, do they seem like, anybody that could challenge anybody for anything at this point?
I'll just not to be biased. I'm just say New York will give those top tiers a good run for their money. Whether they get swept or maybe win one game out of the series. Toronto has fallen back tremendously since
Yeah.
winning chip. The Pacers seems like a team that just don't know what they want to do with their players. Like who the main scorer, who's the
Yeah.
face of the team, who kicked the last shot. I think it'll be Sabonis, that's for sure. And I don't get why they want to trade their big man Miles. I like
Yeah, I don't get
Miles.
that.
Miles Turner. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I just seen when Jimmy Butler said that he is playing soft,
Yeah.
so he's
Yeah.
so he's not happy. And right now the Knicks have been the best defensive team since the season started.
Yep.
Of course, the ball on defense, and the Knicks' problem is that they're not really too consistent on the offensive end of the court. Besides Julius Randle, even though I admit RJ Barrett has been coming on strong the last
Yeah, he's playing well.
many games, he's playing well. He's
Yeah.
playing well. That's for sure. He kind of relies on going to his left too much. I want to see him, go to his right more and more. He always going to his left.
You mean
But all those teams, yeah, I will favor the Knicks. Not being biased, but I favor the Knicks from team who's playing hot, better chemistry, and better defense. And somebody that against a team that knows their main player, or against a team who knows who their main player is, where the other team is not quite sure. Atlanta might say maybe Trey Young one day, and there's Collins one other day, and you
Yeah.
got Malcolm Brogdon one day, and then you got other guy Sabonis one other day. So
Bonus, Levert, they don't know what they want to
yeah,
do.
right, exactly. So, but I'll say New
Now,
York for sure.
here's a good one. And I gotta say my opinion has flip flopped on this to begin with. So when they first traded Porzingis away, I was probably like most Knicks fans with their hands on their heads, or Nick just like, I can't believe they just did this for this bag of crap. But I will say this or something. I mean, even though Randall wasn't part of the deal, if you look at the deal now and what they got afterwards, I would have to say Randall's the better player right now, easily. I mean, I think with him, he does more for the team. He's definitely KP's not a leader. And the problem with Porzingis is if you look at it, right, let's say they kept Porzingis. Porzingis was never going to have that alpha personality. So Julius kind of demands the ball and demands certain things happen. I couldn't see if KP had the same opportunities as Randall as far as being that guy, him taking that type of charge or anything. I mean, what do you think of that?
Randall right now is a very good replacement for KP6. We didn't trade KP for Randall,
Yeah,
but as far as replacing KP6, he's been very good. And this is a year where we finally appreciate him because he's being coached up. Thanks to
yeah,
Tibbs. It's funny you say this because for the last few months I listened to a certain radio show from Dallas quite often, and they all talk about KP6, and they're not happy with KP6 in Dallas. I'm telling
no, they're
you,
not.
I listen to this radio show all the time. They are not happy with KP6 as far as them playing sporadic games or always injured. And they always talk about how they want to trade. And I said, you want to trade because the guy tried to strong arm our franchise.
Yeah,
That's why you want to trade. And then in hindsight, did you really win the trade? Because you guys are not happy with him when he's on the
no.
court. So who would I call it a draw? You can't say you want to trade, and in the last 2 years you're unhappy with his performance and his health. Now for him and Luka having a little bickering, so to speak, which he can't win because Luka win every time.
Yeah.
You're
The,
not
the,
trading Luka keeping you, okay? And plus
the,
you've been in a trade rumor, so to speak, already.
Yep.
So, so right now, I'll call it a draw. But in hindsight, listen, we got 2 draft picks out of that, so I'm not mad at that at all. But
Uh, uh,
KP would have just stick it out and been a trooper. He would pay a center right now. We have Randall playing power forward. We'd be rocking right now.
yeah. The funniest thing is the most consistent piece out of that trade is Tim Hardaway Jr.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Tim
right,
Hardaway Jr. was when they got KP. He hasn't played anywhere near as many games as Tim Hardaway Jr. or done as much probably for them as he has. So that's
right.
that's the crazy part. I'm sure right now he actually has more support in Dallas than KP does.
You know what? I'm gonna be fair, man. The only problem with Tim Hardaway was his contract. Like
Yeah,
I said, yo, Phil, what are you doing? This guy's 70 million. Like,
yeah,
I don't get it. You give him 70 million and Jakim Noah 80 million. Yo, Phil, man. Phil Jackson, man. This is
because
why he got traded. Because his
he was
contract.
playing well. He was playing well for the Knicks. He was
He was
playing well.
playing very well, okay. He was playing very well for our New York Knicks, man. He
Yep.
was showing out, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's keep it a buck. He was showing out against big 4 quarter games, and in other games he was showing up. He was showing out for us, man. He played very well for us. But it
yeah,
was a contract that got him out of New York City, man.
yeah, yeah. They moved the money.
This guy came back twice to pay for us, so he loved New York.
Yeah. Hey, I even heard he's a free agent again. I heard they might look at him again.
All right, listen. Depends on the money, man. I have no issues bringing him back. None at all.
Yeah, they could definitely listen. No, you can't listen. We can't have enough shooting.
Right. We don't have that, man. We got Bullock though, but Bullock, he come and goes.
Yeah,
So we'll see with that.
yeah. So right now, who's the MVP, man?
Right now is Embiid.
Yeah, I gotta go with Embiid.
It's Embiid. Listen, you could have gave it to him before he got hurt. Mr. Few games, come back, and now he look like a point guard.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
doing fadeaways, step backs, steps to the side steps. He's doing everything. Crossover.
yeah. He's tough.
Like somebody said, EMVP, MB, something like that. They put the MVP in
Yeah,
the middle of his name, so to speak. That was kind of cool, man. I'll go
yeah,
with MB. He's balling out of his mind, and he's kind of bringing back the traditional big man basketball a little bit.
yeah. I gotta go with that too. Listen, right now, I mean, they might have like a clean sweep there because when I look at defensive player of the year, I might have to say that's Ben Simmons.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. And you know what? I like their confidence too. They're kind of cocky now too, Ben. But listen,
Yeah,
man, I feel right now is all the time. Good. I want to hear that, Ben.
yeah,
Because we've been knowing you guys to advance the playoffs for the last few years. You guys have been falling short. So
yeah.
obviously you have your confidence up a little bit. You're playing well. That's good. I'm glad you're saying that, man. I'm glad you feel confident as a team and as a player within himself.
So who do we got as the sixth man? Because I think that one's kind of up in the air.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure on that one, man. I gotta hear some names first before I sit on that one.
yeah. I can't really call that. I mean, well, Lou Williams wasn't having his best year when he was. I mean, there's some quiet guys that was in that. I don't know statistically. I think Norman Powell was up there, but we got traded from Toronto to Portland. So I don't know.
Normal Powell's a good one. I'm not quite sure if Gary Trent is a starter or not.
No, I think they moved to the. He's coming off the bench too. It's
Right.
funny traded for each other.
Yeah. He was a guy that was showing up very well too, Portland off the bench too. So Gary Trent, those are 2 good names for sure. I won't mind seeing winning that award.
Yeah, and hey, just to give you a good one for the Knicks, I wouldn't be surprised if Julius Randle made like third team All NBA.
That
I,
would be great.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Yeah, that'd be, you know what, and that'd be great for his character to fall in New York because he came from a villain to a hero, so to speak, within a year span. Like last year, people was killing him about taking too many shots, and he's a ball hog, and this and the
Yeah,
third.
I mean, yeah, you remember the
Yeah, here come a new
remember the
season.
spin move? The spin
Yeah,
move in the paint, people die. As soon as you see it, you knew what was gonna happen.
what's gonna happen? Knew what's coming. So now new season come upon us, and now he's showing out, man. So yeah, he did. He should get most improved player for sure, without question.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely on board with him.
And being like
So
you said, being All NBA, yeah, for sure. I
yeah,
agree
I
with
think so.
I agree with that too.
So with him, although Aldridge retired, do you think Aldridge is a Hall of Famer?
When I first heard retirement and I first heard people talk about him being in the Hall of Fame, I was like, nah. Well, I ran into a stat on my IG feed. It made me remember him how he was during his good old days, putting on 45 and 40 this. I remember those games vividly. He was a monster, Paul,
Oh yeah, that remember the Houston series?
and I kind of forgot that. I really did. And then I look at his stat. Guy played 14 years, 15 years, 7 of those years. He's all what? He's an all-star.
Yeah.
So his average. So maybe fall back on me saying no. Now I'm like, you know what? I think he might be a Hall of Famer. I'll go far as say this: if he goes in, I have no issues.
No, right?
No, if he goes in, I have no issues. Half your career, you're an all star. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
You
I
can't
mean, I think he even I think he might have made like All NBA team a couple of years too.
couple of times. Yeah, you put up 20 and 10 year in year out, 20 plus and 10 plus rebounds year in year out consistently. Oh yeah, I go back to when listen, no other markers put him in. I got an issue with that. But you know what though? Okay, let me tell you something, man. I go back when the Knicks could have had him, and
Yep.
Dolan destroyed the deal for Bargnani from Toronto, man.
You remember that?
And Bargnani fizzled out immediately. He came here, man. And I'm like, who takes Bargnani over Marcus Aldridge? Who does that? The New York.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember that, man. So we got the NFL draft
Yeah,
coming
man.
up next week. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of things. There's something, a lot of interesting things. My Jets moved up to number two. Whatever. I mean, to me, it's great to see they making that move. I'm glad to see that Donald's been shipped out. I mean, there's so many people saying that he's gonna do better wherever he's at. You know what? I got no hate for him. If he does great over there, great. But from what I've seen, I mean, don't get me wrong, Adam Gase, terrible coach, should have never been hired. But
Right.
if you watch the games, that's not all. Adam Gase is not telling you where to throw the ball to. He may be designing bad plays, but
Hmm.
you forcing throws in, missing receivers, overthrowing the ball. So you can't put that part on the coach. Like a lot of people put it on, oh, he didn't have the weapons. I seen him miss passes to guys that was 6 feet or 6 yards away with nobody on them. So
Mm.
I'm kind of glad to see him going there. I know we got we're probably gonna draft from what I understand the Wilson kid from BYU or whatever. And just to get into our first thing with football, it brings me to what I call the Justin Fields debate. I mean, I gotta say, like, listen, I've seen Justin Fields play a lot more than Wilson. I'm pretty much sure most people have, just for from the division he played in. And I'm pretty much sure that the competition that Fields played against was greater than the competition that Wilson played against. And we've seen Fields go out and make it to the national championship, win all these games, make all these throws and stuff. But I was comparably, I don't think there's a person that doesn't say that he's probably the fourth or fifth quarterback or something. So that to me that kind of confuses me because when I look at some of these guys, I look at the tools and what I think would be on the next level. Like I mean, San Francisco trading up to take Mac Jones. So I don't know. I don't get it. Listen, if you can make some kind of sense of it, man, let me know something.
Well, your T-shirt is fitting for this topic, as far as just concerned, to basketball with that hot sauce, because it's definitely a hot topic regarding number 2 pick and who would you take between Fields and Wilson. Um, Justin Fields has the gets higher potential than Wilson. I would take Justin Fields, honestly. I think he could do it all. I don't. I think he could do it all. He could run. He could pass. But some guys, some scouts just favor a certain player, regardless how good the other guy is. As far as Mac Jones, I like Mac Jones. He's more of a system quarterback. Pocket
Yeah,
presence. He ain't gonna run out there. But being with the third pick in the draft is kind of high. Third or fourth pick in the draft is kind of high for Mac Jones.
yeah,
Maybe like 11 to 12. I could see that going. I could see that, for the Patriots or any other team who needs a quarterback. But for San Fran, I guess they chose him at number 3. That's tough. That's
yeah.
tough. They better score home run with that pick, because I like Fields. I'm not quite sure if the BYU quarterback is better than Mac Jones as well. Mac Jones played for Alabama, tough
Wilson,
coach.
yeah,
Tough coaches on both sides of the ball, tough practices, very tough schedule, all 12 games, playing in the SEC. So it depends what kind of quarterback you like. You prefer, I guess Shanahan likes a certain style of quarterback. So this is why I guess Mac Jones, I guess he prefers more than Justin Fields.
yeah. I mean, I look at it, even when you look at Trey Lance, you kind of don't know what you're going to get from Trey Lance. He sat out the season. The level of competition is different. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he's good, but I think it does count to some extent. I mean, I think one of the knocks they had on Fields was that he was a single read guy, but he had an interesting take on that, and the coach had an interesting take on that too. Their take was, if our receivers are better than everybody else's quarterbacks, and I can throw it to the first option, why would I look to throw it to the other options if I can get it to the first option?
Makes sense.
So I get that.
I
And
get that.
then somebody else, I don't know if it was Sports Illustrated or somebody else, did some kind of analytics on progressions. And from what they said, listen, Justin Fields actually went through the progressions more than any of the other top 5 quarterbacks being drafted. So it's just interesting. I got to say, I think part of his issue, and it sounds crazy, is Dwayne Haskins.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. And I'm gonna add one more to that. The year before, when they lost that bowl game, and the receiver he threw it to went the other direction, he threw it for interception. That pass there too, I get to blame him as well. I forgot what route it was. It was like a game-winning drive
Yep.
near the end zone, and I could make like a slot post route. Instead of turning into the middle of the field, he went to the outside of the field. And I guess Field assumed that he's going inside and threw the football. I remember that pass vividly, and we get a lot of criticism about that pass. So that pass, I guess Haskins too, who played before him. Some guys can label the wrong way. So, and these scouts, man, they are old and like a certain kind of.
Yeah.
So
I mean, some of the stuff they don't look at too. Like, he got a lot of flack for not playing well against Northwestern, but quietly, that guy at the corner on Northwestern they said one of the top corners in the game.
Right. I forgot his name, but I remember. Yeah, I remember vividly. Listen, the kid played for Ohio State, played for the best conference, arguably, and had a very tough schedule outside of Alabama.